Hello YouTube, and in today's video I'll be covering the IBEX 35 index, which is the main Spanish stock index. I'll be covering all of its components. So as you can see, in the long term it's been in an uptrend, but ever since making a peak in 2007, 2008, it hasn't taken out that peak, so it's been a bad investment since then. So let's have a look at the constituents. It's got Banco Santander, which is a major bank. You can see from looking at this chart that it's had a descending triangle over here. It's basically broken to the downside. If we measure a target, we get a target below zero, which doesn't make sense. But as you can see, look at the geometry, this isn't a good investment either. It's had a good bounce from 1.6 all the way to 4.6, but we're heading into resistance by the looks of things. So it's not a good investment. Next, we've got BBVA, Banco Bilbao. It's a major bank as well. You can see it's been in a downtrend over time. Again, we've had a similar sort of descending triangle that often breaks to the downside. We've had a really good rally recently, but again, we need to see future price behavior to determine what's going to happen going forward. Next, we've got Amadeus IT Group, which is in the IT sector, technology services. And I can see, looking at this chart, this is a good company to invest in. I can just see that grading a symmetrical triangle, which could probably break to the upsides. So it could come down like this. It could go slightly higher and break out. Next, we've got Selenex Telecom. I can see this was a good investment, but we hit a peak in 2021 and we've been going lower ever since. Next, we've got Naturgy Energy, which is the electrical utility. And I can see, looking at the chart, that basically we've been going lower since made a peak in 2007. Since then, it's grinded higher. It's been a good investment from 9 all the way to 24. But again, we need to see more price behavior. Next, we've got CaixaBank, which is probably one of the better banks. It's had a W bottom of sorts over here. I can project a target of inverse head and shoulders over here. As you can see, you've already made your target and currently outperforming. That's been a good bank. Next, we've got Telefonica, which has been absolutely dreadful. We've been trying to rally over here. We had a descending triangle over here, which we broke into the downside. We had a bear flag over here, which is broken down. Again, we've had this type of falling wedge over here, which is broken to the downside. Normally you break to the upside, but this one's spilled to the downside. It looks like it's got lower to go, so that's a terrible investment. Next, we've got Endesa, which is electric utilities. And I can see with this one, basically it's gone sideways, it's gone nowhere for a while. So it's kind of stuck. It's not a particularly good investment. And next, we've got Aena, which is transportation. And I can see on this chart, we've had this sort of symmetrical triangle over here, which is broken out. So we need future price behavior to be able to determine where this is going to be going. Next, we've got Ferrovial SE, which is engineering and construction. I can see there's a symmetrical triangle over here, which is broken to the upside. You made your target over here at 30. And we need to see some sort of wind up over here before we can determine where it goes next. Next, we've got ArcelorMittal, which is steel. And I can see this has been a steady downtrend over time. I've been measuring to see if this was going to go to the upside. Looks like it might even break down, to be honest. Next, we've got Repsol, which is integrated oil space. I can see this has generally done a bad job tracking oil, because it's just been in a downtrend over time. So it's been kind of dreadful. Could argue there's an element of falling wedge in here, but it still hasn't broken out, so it's still a dreadful investment over time. It's been a good trade from 5 all the way to 15, but there's been probably been better investments to track oil in other indices. Next, we've got Corporation A&E Corporation, Acciona Energias Renewables. See, that's just been in a downtrend. So that's a bad investment. Next, we've got International Consolidated Airlines Group, owner of Aer Lingus and British Airways, I believe. I can see that an airline like this has been a terrible investment over time. It's got some sort of symmetrical triangle forming here, which could break down, so it's a terrible investment. Next, we've got Vidia Corporation, which is an engineering and construction space. It's been in a steady uptrend over time, but it hasn't done anything since basically April 2014, so it's been a dreadful investment. Next, we've got Acciona SA, which is an engineering and construction space. I can see this has also been a dreadful investment as well. It hit a peak back in 2008 and it's never been able to recover since. It's been a decent trade from 34 all the way up here to 116. Oh, this is an interesting chart. We've got ACS, Activities de Construction y Servicios. And I can see this has created a symmetrical triangle which has broken out to the upside. Essentially, we've got much, much higher to go on this name. If I project from here, project from roughly the midpoint, there was a good entry over here. You'd entered there, you got a target of 63. So this is looking impressive. Next, you've got Grifols, SA. It's pharmaceutical space. I can see this has been an established downtrend recently. Every single rally is basically broken to the downside. It's been a dreadful investment recently. Next, we've got Mapfre, which is multi-line insurance. I can see this has been a bad investment generally as well. It's done nothing since basically 2003. Imagine all the inflation in that time and your money's not done anything. Got Banco Sabadell, another weak bank. European banks aren't good. Got Bank Inter, which is slightly better bank. See this is breaking out to new highs. Again, look for a pullback and then see if there's any price favor that indicates further upside. Next, we've got Energas, which is basically utility gas distributions. Again, that's done nothing since 2005, so it's a terrible investment. It's been an established downtrend over time. Next, we've got Merlin Properties. Again, it's been a dreadful investment. It's been a decent trade after the pandemic from 5 all the way to 10, but apart from that, there's nothing interesting there. Next, we've got Fluidra SA, recreational products. Again, this is a nice uptrend over time, but again, there's no clear price favor where this is heading next. Next, we've got Campania de Distribution Integra Logistica Holdings, and I can see this has generally trended to the upside, so it's been a good investment. Again, I'd wait for price favor to see where it's heading next. This is a real estate investment trust, and I can see it's absolutely collapsed. Even looking at previous price value, it's very flat. It looks like it could go lower. We got Asin SA, which is basically steel. And I can see this has generally been a bad investment over time. It's just gone sideways, really. Got Unicaja Banco, which is basically another bank. Again, this one's just gone sideways, really. It's not been a good investment. Next, we've got Laboratorios Farmacéuticos Rovi SA. It's pharmaceutical space. It's gone really parabolic, so I wouldn't chase in here, but over time, it's been in a nice uptrend, so that's nice. Next, we've got Indra Sistemas SA Serie A. I can see this has had a nice structure over here, where we've basically gone down, basically like this. We've had a kind of a falling wedge sort of breakout over here in 2023, and we've shot up much higher since. That's been a decent trade. Next, we got Sacra SA. which is engineering construction space. It's just on sideways. Next, we've got Solaria Energia y Medio Ambiente SA. And I can see that had a good uptrend, which has now failed. Finally, we've got Amelia Hotels International, which is a hotel resorts cruise line consumer services company. And I can see that basically this has gone slightly up since the COVID lows. But again, it's been dreadful since 2017. So yeah, if I can look at the IBEX index one more time before we finish today's video. If you like the video, press the thumbs up button, press subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you're always notified for future technical analysis updates and other financial and saving topic videos, which I'll be doing in the future. And again, with the IBEX, as you can see, the IBEX 35, it has been a steady uptrend, but there's better performing indices such as the S&P 500, which I'll put on now just for comparison. And you'll be able to see there's a clear difference between basically being up 200% and being up 1500%. So that's all for today's video. Thank you and goodbye.